Have you ever walked into a room and instantly felt the tension in the air, even though nobody said a word? Or found yourself inexplicably drawn to certain people while feeling repelled by others, without any logical reason? What if I told you that you're not just passively experiencing reality, but actively creating it through an invisible force that Carl Jung spent his entire life trying to understand? Most people believe they're making independent choices, thinking their own thoughts, living their own lives, but the truth is far more profound and, frankly, a little unsettling. Right now, as you're watching this video, you're part of an invisible network, a web of consciousness that connects every human being on this planet. Jung called this the collective unconscious, and modern physics is finally catching up to what he intuited nearly a century ago. But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our future videos. Here's something that will probably blow your mind. Scientists studying schools of fish discovered something extraordinary. Thousands of fish move in perfect synchronization, turning simultaneously, flowing as one unified organism. Yet there's no leader, there's no fish at the front giving commands. So, how do they do it? The answer reveals one of the most powerful secrets about human consciousness and reality itself. The school always follows the fish with the strongest internal intention, not the loudest, not the biggest, but the one broadcasting the clearest signal. And here's where it gets fascinating. Humans operate on exactly the same principle. You are constantly broadcasting a frequency based on your thoughts, emotions, and intentions. And everyone around you is either entraining to a signal, or you're entraining to theirs. Has this ever happened to you? You set a clear goal, and suddenly the right people just appear in your life to help you achieve it. Or maybe you've noticed how certain individuals seem to effortlessly influence entire rooms without saying much at all. That's not charisma. That's quantum mechanics meeting depth psychology. Jung understood something that science is only now beginning to prove. We're all connected through invisible fields that transcend space and time. When you think a thought, when you feel an emotion, you're not experiencing it in isolation. You're broadcasting it into the collective field, and that field responds. The question is, are you consciously directing your broadcast? Or are you unconsciously being programmed by someone else's? Stay with me until the end, because what you're about to discover will fundamentally change how you see yourself and your power to influence reality. Most people are like fish being swept along by the dominant currents around them, scattered, reactive, pulled in 1,000 different directions by social media, news cycles, other people's fears and agendas. But there's another way. Jung discovered that certain individuals develop what he called individuation, the capacity to become conscious architects of their own psychic reality. These people don't get swept along by the collective currents. Instead, they become the current that others follow. They become the fish with the strongest signal, and the entire school of reality reorganizes around their intention. The real question is, which fish are you? And more importantly, which fish do you want to become? Because right now, in this very moment, you're either creating your reality or you're letting someone else create it for you. Think of yourself as a living broadcast tower. Every single thought you think, every emotion you feel, every intention you hold, it's all being transmitted outward into the field of consciousness. Around you, Jung spent decades studying this invisible architecture of the psyche, and what he discovered was both empowering and sobering. Your inner state isn't just affecting you, it's literally shaping the reality that forms around you, influencing the decisions other people make, the opportunities that appear or disappear, the synchronicities that seem like magic, but are actually the natural consequence of a focused mind. But here's where most people stumble on their journey toward genuine transformation. They scatter their signal. One moment they're visualizing abundance and financial freedom. The next moment they're doom scrolling through social media, comparing themselves to others, spiraling into thoughts of inadequacy and fear. It's like trying to tune into a radio station while constantly switching frequencies. You end up with static, noise, confusion, and that fragmented broadcast. That's exactly what gets reflected back to you in your external circumstances. The hidden truth Jung uncovered is that weak, inconsistent signals don't just fail to create what you want, they make you vulnerable to manipulation. When your attention is scattered, when your emotional energy is all over the place, you become susceptible to entrainment by stronger fields around you. You start living according to someone else's script, dancing to someone else's frequency, building someone else's dream while your own fades into background noise. If you're ready to dive deeper into consciousness and practical transformation, hit that subscribe button. This content is for people who want real insights, not surface-level motivation. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic because understanding the mechanics of vibrational broadcasting is just the beginning. Jung recognized that real transformation, the kind that fundamentally alters your life trajectory, requires what he called concentrated psychic energy. It's not enough to casually want something. You need what the great success philosophers called a burning desire. This is the kind of passion that consumes you, that you can't stop thinking about, that pulls you out of bed in the morning and keeps you awake at night with possibility. When you cultivate this level of focused intensity around a vision, something remarkable happens. Your broadcast signal strengthens dramatically. You become the dominant frequency in your environment. People start responding to you differently. Opportunities align with uncanny precision. Resistance begins to dissolve. But here's the shadow side that most personal development teachers won't tell you about. This principle works both ways. If what you can't stop thinking about is fear, if your burning desire is actually a burning anxiety about scarcity, failure, or inadequacy, then that becomes your dominant broadcast. And the universe, being the perfect mirror that it is, will deliver circumstances that match that frequency with ruthless accuracy. This is where the real work of consciousness begins, where mindset meets quantum reality, where Jung's insights into the collective unconscious reveal their practical power. The question isn't whether you're broadcasting, you always are. The question is whether you're conscious of what you're transmitting and whether you have the discipline to maintain a clear signal even when everything around you is chaos. Write in the comments, "I'm ready to strengthen my signal," if this resonates with you. Because here's something that will fundamentally shift how you understand influence and manifestation. There's an old experiment that Jung would have absolutely loved, where scientists placed multiple grandfather clocks on the same wall, all with their pendulums swinging completely out of sync. What happened next reveals one of the most profound truths about consciousness and reality. Within just a few hours, all those clocks synchronized perfectly. Not because someone adjusted them, not through any mechanical connection, but because the clock with the strongest, most consistent pendulum literally pulled every other clock into its rhythm. This is entrainment in action, and it's happening to you right now in every area of your life. When your inner frequency is weak and inconsistent, you get entrained by the strongest signals around you. Your boss's agenda, society's expectations, your family's fears, the manufactured anxiety of 24-hour news cycles. You become a pendulum swinging to someone else's beat. But when you develop coherence, when your frequency becomes clear and powerful, something miraculous happens. People start unconsciously assisting you. Opportunities appear out of nowhere. The right conversation happens at the perfect moment. Doors open that you didn't even know existed. Most people call this luck or coincidence, but Jung called it synchronicity. And he understood that it wasn't random at all. It was the natural consequence of a mind that had achieved alignment between conscious intention and unconscious energy. This is the hidden mechanism behind every success story you've ever heard, the secret ingredient that separates those who struggle from those who seem to effortlessly create extraordinary results. They're not luckier or more talented. They've simply learned to maintain a coherent frequency that the universe can't help but respond to. And this brings us to one of the most stunning revelations in modern science, something that validates what Jung intuited nearly a century ago. In 2022, 3 physicists won the Nobel Prize for proving that the universe is fundamentally connected through invisible fields. Quantum entanglement demonstrates that particles, once connected, remain instantaneously linked regardless of distance. Change one particle, and the other responds immediately, even if it's on the opposite side of the universe. Einstein himself called this spooky action at a distance because it defied everything we thought we knew about reality. But Jung already understood this. His concept of the collective unconscious wasn't just poetic philosophy, it was a description of the quantum field that connects all consciousness. We're not separate beings bumping into each other randomly in space and time. We're nodes in an infinite network, waves in the same ocean of awareness, broadcasting and receiving information through channels that transcend physical limitations. This means your thoughts, your emotions, your intentions, they're not confined to your skull. They're rippling out through the field, influencing people and circumstances in ways you can't even track. The practical impact of this understanding is staggering. It means you can influence situations without being physically present. It means your focused intention can shift outcomes across time and space. It means that every moment you spend cultivating coherence in your inner world is literally restructuring the quantum field around you, creating pathways for transformation that didn't exist before. Leave a comment saying, "I feel the connection," if you're beginning to grasp how deep this goes. But understanding this interconnection isn't enough if you don't also understand the forces actively working against your coherence. Jung was obsessed with what he called individuation, the process of becoming conscious of all the invisible influences shaping your thoughts, emotions, and decisions. And if he were alive today, he'd be horrified at what's been engineered around us. Every notification, every carefully crafted headline, every infinite scroll through curated content, it's all designed with one purpose: to fragment your attention and scatter your signal. This isn't conspiracy theory. This is the business model of the modern world. Your scattered mind is profitable. Your fragmented attention is the commodity being sold. Because when your psychic energy is dispersed across 1,000 micro-distractions, when you're constantly reacting instead of creating, you become incredibly easy to entrain to someone else's agenda. You start buying what they're selling, believing what they're broadcasting, living according to scripts written by people who don't have your best interests at heart. If this resonated with you, hit that like button. It helps these ideas reach others who are searching for exactly what you just discovered. The hidden truth that Jung understood is that vulnerability to external manipulation is directly proportional to the scattering of your consciousness. The more fragmented you are, the more you become a puppet dancing to invisible strings. But the moment you recognize this, and I mean really see it, not just intellectually understand it, but viscerally feel how your mind is being pulled in all directions, that awareness itself becomes the first step toward reclaiming your psychic sovereignty. You can't change what you're not conscious of, and most people go through life completely unaware that they're not thinking their own thoughts or choosing their own responses. This is where the real journey begins, where mindset meets practical technique, where ancient wisdom intersects with cutting-edge neuroscience. because Jung would have absolutely loved what I'm about to share with you. There's a practice that directly addresses this scattering, a method for returning to center whenever you notice yourself being pulled into someone else's frequency. I call it scoling, and it's based on that same principle we discussed earlier, the school of fish, moving as one unified consciousness. Here's how it works in your actual daily life. The moment you notice yourself stressed, anxious, overwhelmed, scrolling mindlessly, or caught in that familiar spiral of inadequacy and comparison, you pause. Just pause. And in that pause, you bring to mind the image of a school of fish, thousands of individual beings moving in perfect harmony. You close your eyes or simply soften your gaze, and you imagine yourself as part of that school, connected through invisible threads to everything around you. You feel the quantum fabric linking you to nature, to other people, to the earth beneath your feet and the sky above your head. This isn't just visualization for the sake of feeling good. This is a neurological pattern interrupt, a deliberate rewiring of your nervous system from scattered reactivity to focused presence. Your brain doesn't distinguish between vividly imagined experience and actual experience. The same neural pathways light up either way. So when you practice scoling, you're literally training your consciousness to maintain coherence under pressure, to become the strong pendulum that entrains others, rather than the weak one that gets pulled along. Drop "I'm practicing coherence" in the comments if you're ready to integrate this into your daily routine. And here's where this practice reveals something profound about the nature of reality itself. When you're in that centered state, connected to your school, you start to recognize something that might initially be uncomfortable, but is ultimately liberating. Everything around you right now, the people in your life, the circumstances you're dealing with, the challenges and opportunities, they're all part of your personal school. You attracted them through your previous broadcasts, through the frequency you've been maintaining, consciously or unconsciously. Jung would tell you that this isn't about blame or guilt. It's about radical responsibility and, more importantly, radical power. Because if your frequency created this reality, then shifting your frequency reshapes that reality. And here's the fascinating part that most people miss. When you maintain coherent connection to your school, when you hold that clear, strong signal, anything that doesn't belong naturally gets ejected. Just like a foreign fish bumping into a synchronized school gets pushed out by the collective movement. Problems and disharmonious elements in your life begin to dissolve or remove themselves when you maintain your center. This is the self-organizing principle of consciousness that Jung dedicated his life to understanding. Reality isn't static. It's constantly reorganizing itself around the strongest, clearest intention in the field. When you're scattered, you're at the mercy of whatever random currents happen to be strongest. But when you're coherent, you become the organizing principle. Your school, your reality, begins to take the shape of your deepest intentions rather than your surface-level worries. The transformation doesn't happen through force or manipulation. It happens through presence, through maintaining your connection to the field, even when chaos swirls around you. And the more you practice scoling, the more you're not just imagining or visualizing, you're literally building new neural architecture in your brain. Jung understood something that neuroscience has now confirmed. Your psyche makes no distinction between a vividly imagined experience and an actual one. Both create the same neural pathways, both trigger the same biochemical responses, both reshape the physical structure of your consciousness. So every time you practice connecting to your school, feeling that quantum fabric linking you to all things, imagining yourself as the coherent signal that others entrain to, you're not engaging in wishful thinking. You're engaging in neurological engineering. You're building the antenna, strengthening your capacity to both receive information from the field and broadcast your intentions into it. Your nervous system begins to organize around coherence rather than reactivity. Your brain develops new connections that support sustained focus rather than scattered attention. This is where the behind-the-scenes work of real transformation happens, where the journey from scattered victim to conscious creator actually unfolds. It's not dramatic or instant. It's the daily practice of returning to center, of recognizing when you've been pulled off course and choosing to reconnect. And with each repetition, your signal gets stronger, your reality becomes more responsive. Your experience of life fundamentally shifts from being at effect to being at cause. Right, I'm building my antenna if you're committed to this practice. And if you've made it this far, you're clearly not someone who's content with surface-level answers or quick fixes. You're here because you sense there's something deeper happening, a truth about consciousness and reality that most people never even question. That tells me everything I need to know about who you are and what you're capable of. If this resonates with you, if these concepts are landing in a way that feels like remembering rather than learning, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button, because I'm committed to exploring these intersections between ancient wisdom and modern science, between Jung's profound insights and practical tools you can use today to transform your actual lived experience. This channel is for people who are ready to go beyond theory and into practice, who want to understand not just how reality works, but how to consciously shape it. And let me know you made it all the way through by dropping a comment that says, "This message was meant for me. I read every single one." And there's something powerful about declaring your presence in this community of conscious creators. If you found value in what we explored today, go ahead and hit that like button. It helps this content reach others who are searching for exactly what you just discovered, people who are ready to stop being swept along by external currents and start becoming the signal that others synchronize to. There's a video right here that goes even deeper into practical techniques for strengthening your field and protecting your consciousness from manipulation. It's the perfect continuation of what we've been exploring, so click and continue with me over there. Let's keep building this understanding together.